One of the catchphrases we have for our team members that come here is we say, you're going to grow and then go. So you're going to come here, you're going to get better, and you're going to the next thing. We don't want a team member that's in the field for 3, 4, 5 years. That's just not something, I mean, we haven't even hit our 5-year mark, but for the type of work we're doing, it's like, we want you here for a year to 2 years, grow, get better. Let us teach you those skill sets of, the accountability is what it means to have a relationship with the client, leadership to the other team members. When you're a foreman on the job, leading that other team to get the job well done. And then we're able to pass them off. And then now they go into that next point of their career where they have it's almost like the base level fundamentals that need to be learned. It's like
Be Nice Individuals Podcast.
Hey folks, this is Thaddeus on the Be Nice Individuals Podcast, which is hosted here at the Flagler Voice Podcast Studio. I have a very special guest. You've seen him around, the To-Do Dudes. It's with Erik Libby. Did I say it right?
Erik Libby. That's pretty close.
It was close. Yeah. It was close. I just had him pronounce it off camera, actually, and I still screwed it up. But that's okay. Erik Libby.
Boom.
I got it the second time. See?
Love it.
Got it. I just need a little bit of practice. The To-Do Dudes. They do a lot, actually. I've seen some things like on social media with like hanging lights and stuff when it comes to Christmas time. But we're going to have Erik on to actually go into the specifics. Erik, how you doing, brother? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's a Thursday.
Yeah.
A beautiful day outside. I got up and, it was that feeling when it moves from summer to starting to get a little cool. I don't think we're quite there.
Yeah.
But it feels good when it's just got that crispness in the air. And I think I felt that this morning.
Yeah. Yeah, you're starting to feel that fall coming. Yeah, I'm tired of the hot weather. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of that. Now, are you from here originally?
From Minnesota, actually.
Okay.
So completely different. So you have two trade-offs. So one could be a winter that is awful, or a summer that is brutal, right? And then so which of the lesser of the two evils do you want?
Yeah.
I would have to go with a summer that's brutal, just because we spent so much time in Minnesota. I moved here when I was 14.
Wow.
And I think it was just the shoveling snow and
That's
a
true.
memory that I remember that it was negative 60 wind chill on one of those winters before wrapping up. And so I'd rather have a 90-degree day with humidity and, than that snow and brutal cold.
Right. It's one of those things like the snow, the ice, and all that stuff. There's more chances you're going to get stuck in traffic or you're going to have your car get hit or something like that. A hot day is annoying, but you're not going to get stuck in traffic necessarily or anything like that is associated with with the cold weather. But I am originally from St. Louis, so I experience more seasons than here in Florida. Mm-hmm. So
that is one thing I miss is the seasons for sure, because it's just hot or hotter here.
Yeah, but we are going into fall, and these seasons, the weather is going to get nicer. It actually got cold last year, I feel like, and I actually had to break out some of my heavier garments because it was cold. Because I think my blood thinned out.
Yep.
I'm not St. Louis anymore. You're not Minnesota anymore necessarily.
The 60s now influences me to put on a jacket, where in Minnesota I was 40s and shorts, and that was okay.
Yeah, it's so crazy how your body acclimates and just changes based on where
the environment.
You are. Yeah, it's
Weird.
Cool. It's cool. But to segue into that, it's also interesting how you acclimate to business. See what I did?
There we go.
But so, how did you get into the To-Do Dudes, and really, where's that brand from? Like, where did it come from in your history?
For sure. So, growing up, I think I always had that little entrepreneurial knack. I was always curious, and I was doing the lemonade stands, or there was this thing a long time ago. This might be a little bit more for the younger generation. Do you remember what silly bands were? Like the little bracelets and no, they're like little bracelets. They all were designed differently, and people would have like a long wrist of silly bands.
I remember like the rubber band type things.
Okay.
Or
that's what it was.
Bands?
Yeah, it was like a rubber band. Yep.
Yeah, and people would have like a sleeve of them.
Yeah. And so, so things like that where I'd try and buy and sell, or like little pencil choppers. I remember they were called jubs. I used to buy those and then sell those for more money. So I always had this this desire to like, like providing value or trying to figure
You
out
were a hustler.
how can we make an idea, like a business idea out of this.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I grew up. I just always, nobody ever said you're an entrepreneur. My parents emphasize sometimes I'm how they quoted, a little sales guy. And I was like, all right, well, I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about that until now. You go through me moving from Minnesota, coming to Florida in May of 2020. So this is where it segues into the actual story of how it started.
Sure.
This is the COVID years, and there's just, there's people at home and they have a lot of stuff they need to get done around the house. My grandmother was especially one of those people where she would have deliveries coming in and she'd be like, Eric, can you bring this from my front door? Can you bring this inside? Or maybe, I got a lot going on. I'm going to wipe down. I need the countertops wiped down. I need you to clean up around the house.
Sure.
I have something up top on the highest shelf. Can you just reach it? I'm a little taller, so sometimes I need to help grandma with getting something on the top shelf.
Yeah.
And then one day she dropped 200 bags of lava rock on the front driveway. And so if anyone listening can picture what that is, that's not a 30-minute, let's just go outside quick and do this. That's a half day, full day project where you're laying this down. And so she got that. I was then assigned to doing that for the day. I was like, Grandma, okay, happy to help. I did what any high schooler at the time would do. This is now right as I was graduating. So that May of 2020, graduating from high school, put my headphones in, go to the backyard, start helping Grandma with her chores or her outside work. And I'm laying down these bags, and she lives adjacent to a golf course here in the community.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. You have a group of people that comes by, and one person comes and says, Eric, you do this for your grandma. Can you do this for me? All right. Another 10 minutes go by. A second person, different group of people, comes up and says, hey, you do this yard work? Could you maybe by chance move something in my house? I need to move something from upstairs to downstairs. Another person comes by. This is number 3. And now they need their car detailed. I need my car cleaned out.
Yeah.
Do you have a business card? And I looked at them with wide-eyed. I'm like, I have my phone number. And it's just because again, I was just helping grandma. I had no intention. There was no business thought. It was just literally I'm going to go help grandmother with her chores. Yeah. And so 4th and 5th one came. And then finally, I think it was a hit on the back of the head or some just light bulb. Finally, after 5 people, I was like, all right, yeah, seriously. And I was like, all right, let's see what we can do here. Cause I know she needs help. My grandmother all the time, there has to be other people like her. And so just kind of started from there, printed out flyers and just kind of got going.
Dude, that's an awesome story. It's almost, I don't know what you believe about fate. I believe there's different paths, so to speak, but I believe that life, whatever you believe in, can push you in certain directions. And I believe that there's a certain best path for everyone. And in your case, it was almost like the universe was slapping you across the back of the head, saying, this is the path and walk in it. Like you said, you had 5 crazy. Or 6 people.
Yeah, it's you. When you don't expect it, opportunities come, and it's just crazy how sometimes it just happens to work together like that. And I think it was just, it was just lucky circumstance that those people came by. Because if those people didn't come by in that day, then there probably wouldn't be a business.
Dude. And you're just in the right place at the right time, sweating with these lava rocks. Did you go back and thank your grandmother after it's hey, because of those lava rocks, now I've created a whole business? Did you have the opportunity to do that?
Grateful, yeah. So we use her name in a couple, we have a To-Do Dudes app, and in the app, her name is listed as the customer kind of the demo customer profile. It says Judy
so
B.
Cool. Yeah.
And so we have that as just kind of she was basically the founding story. That's part of
it's whenever homage to it, right?
Yeah. Every time that somebody asks, how did it start? It's it started in my grandma's backyard. I was laying lava rock and a bunch of people came by and it just happened to work out.
But that's a cool story.
Yeah.
So awesome. So that was the origin story. And so where did it kind of go from there?
So first failure, as an entrepreneur, you're hills, valleys. You get marred in the mud multiple times before you figure it out.
Sure.
And so our first story is we printed out 50 flyers and I start walking them around the neighborhood. It was a gated community. So for anyone that lives in a gated community, you can't solicit those neighbors. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, you were young.
That's the thing I hoped I had going for me. Like if I got in trouble, but I didn't even think of it. I just started doing. I printed out these flyers and passed out 50. I was super proud of the work I did. I was like, I went around and spent an hour. Like that's great. And so now I see a phone call coming through, and my phone was down. I looked up. I'm like, we're getting a phone call.
Yeah.
What it said on there, it said main gate. And so if you live in a gated community, main gate is going to be the security actually at the community. And so they called and they said, hey, I don't know what's going on. I've gotten calls from 7 residents say that you or someone soliciting. And so I was like, yep, I was passing out flyers. And so immediately I thought, this is the end. And thankfully we got one opportunity. So those people that were coming by weren't like initial customers. They're more just like, I'm curious to have stuff done. Could you give me your phone number?
Sure.
But those from that flyer, it resulted in one customer that called us, said, hey, I love what you're doing. Can you come help me? And then it was a neighbor down the street. And then it was a neighborhood over.
All you need is one to get in the door. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's the word of mouth, which especially in this community in Palm Coast and Ormond, it's like when you live in small communities like this, I mean, when you have somebody that gives you the power of like, they did a great job, it just compounds to so many other, I mean, that's a majority of business. And I just business in general, but it's like, that's a majority of our business is just, you do good work for someone, they're going to go tell their friend like, hey, you have the same problem that I do. Yeah. Let me go share that with someone else.
Yeah. That's huge here because Palm Coast has that small town vibe to it, even though, I don't know how many thousands of people live here. But at the same time, it's like word of mouth is huge, especially like the Facebook groups and stuff. You live and die by word of mouth and those reviews and all that. So that's amazing, though, the story of just getting that one initial customer. Because in 2 ways, right? So one, we know that the initial customer is going to tell their friends and stuff like that. Or a neighbor is going to see you out working and like, and they want to keep up with the neighbor or something like that. But at the same time, it's a gated community, which is good. Because nobody else can come in and solicit, so to speak. So now you have kind of a captive audience. And I love gated communities for that. If you can get in there with one customer, you can potentially help all their neighbors and such like that. So that's amazing. So tell me, and the audience wants to know this as well. So to do dudes, what do you guys do? What do you specialize in anything? And what don't you do?
Yeah, so the pitch we give is it's students helping with household chores. So we hire young professionals, usually high school, college students, to come help out with just simple tasks and chores that you either don't have the time to do or you don't have the energy to do. So some of those things are our typical list. You have moving, yard work, odd jobs, events, cleaning, and tech help. So we have 6 different categories. And really it's just as simple as, you need people to show up, which is the biggest problem that we solve is our homeowners that we help have said, I try and get someone out and they're late every time, or worse, they never even actually show up, or they have long service windows and they say, I'm going to be there between 8 to 12. And now they come at 5, or like I said, they don't show up. And so what we try and solve is when you book with us, we schedule right at that time and we'll be there right at that time. So we have even accountability discount for our customers that if we are a minute late, then you're going to get $10 off your appointment. We just really a commitment to that. But it's as simple as just those household chores, those things that you don't have the time to do, you don't have the energy. And as long as the homeowner has the tools, equipment ready for us when we come there, if it requires maybe a ladder to get up on, maybe take out some leaves out of the gutter, or maybe it's a dolly if it's really heavy furniture. What you're getting with us is going to be labor that's going to be accountable and will be there when you need us to be there.
Yeah, not just people who don't want to, just kind of like your grandmother. I don't know what age she was when you guys were doing the lava rocks, but let's face it, there's a lot of Palm Coast in this immediate area. They're elderly and they can't do some of these things, specifically like getting up on a ladder to clean out the gutters. Maybe they shouldn't, because if they fall or whatnot, their recuperation time is not going to be quite the same as someone who's young and all that.
We like to say whenever someone calls and says, I really want to do this. I have all the intention to do it. And I just, it pains me I can't. And then I say, that's where we're here. We're here to help because
Yeah.
we're the young. It's a young group of team members that we have, the students that we focus on, where it's kind of like this great relationship dynamic where it's like these people that we're helping have the wisdom, but just not sometimes the physical ability. Where we don't have the wisdom and we do have the physical ability. So it's like, well, let's kind of join together and then figure out, like, let's help each other out. So I think it's a great way to even outside of just the homeowner that we're able to serve. It's like, it's a great flexible work opportunity and a opportunity for growth for these students that, we need to install the accountability, like what that means to give your word to someone that I will be there, because we're counting on our team to make it out to that customer and make sure that they are delivering that good experience. So I think it's a great way. I mean, it's really that community that's built together as it is one of our core values, community, to make sure that we are connecting whether it's the busy professional or the senior citizen to that student that just is looking for something to give back to the community.
I love that, because in that it's almost twofold. So one is you're instilling those values. So it's almost like a mentorship for the people that are coming up, that are the next generation. But at the same time, and we haven't spoke about it on this show, but I've spoken about it in the past, is the labor force, so to speak, has been dwindling, especially with the newer generations that are coming out, because I don't know if it was COVID or kind of people have gone in a certain direction, but the labor force has a great need for people to be out there kind of helping and assisting and servicing. So I believe your company really can help fill that void.
I think we can. And one of the catchphrases we have for our team members that come here is we say, you're going to grow and then go. So you're going to come here, you're going to get better, and you're going to the next thing. We don't want a team member that's in the field for 3, 4, 5 years. That's just not something. I mean, we haven't even hit our 5-year mark, but for the type of work we're doing, it's like, we want you here for a year to 2 years, grow, get better. Let us teach you those skill sets of, the accountability is what it means to have a relationship with the client, leadership to the other team members. When you're a foreman on the job, leading that other team to get the job well done. And then we're able to pass them off. And then now they go into that next point of their career where they have it's almost like the base level fundamentals that need to be learned. It's like, all right, we got to have a uniform when we go to work. We need to show up at the time that we say we're going to show up. And if you don't, then there's going to be consequences. There's going to be, it wouldn't work out. If you don't show up, then it's like, then those team members will have to move on, because we need the people that are accountable and that will be there. And so I think the goal too is just, we're able almost in a way to be a feeder to these next employment opportunities. So now when you get you need more people in the workforce, it's like you have already the base level, which is that's what we're hoping to really install in our team.
It's kind of like basic training for adulthood, because a lot of people, I'm trying to think of myself when I was of that time period. I didn't have as much ambition or anything like that. I wasn't super regulated, but if you can instill that early, especially with kids younger, we'll say kids. We'll just say kids.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So instill that early, give them some of those life skills, so maybe they go off into a trade or maybe they go into college. Now they're going to be a couple steps ahead versus, just being a kid with no prior experience. And I know there's kids that are coming to you, they're looking for like summer work and stuff like that. That's perfect, because they're going to get some of that mentorship, and then they're going to just excel in whatever it is that they're doing.
That's right on. And I think even to touch on this even further is, we have anybody from going into trades after our team to want to be doctors, want to be an engineer, want to go into sales. Like and they're all doing the same type of work. It's being in the field, helping with those moving, yard work, cleaning jobs, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
But for any of those, the interesting thing across the spectrum is like, you have to be able to show up. You have to be able to know, to take instruction. You have to be able to work with a team correctly, like a good collaborative teamwork environment. And so, I think that's just what we're really trying to push with our team.
No, absolutely. So would you shout out your contact information so people can get a hold of you, so they could actually have you come out to assist them with those tasks?
So a couple ways to find us. So we have Facebook and Instagram pages. It'll be at the To-Do Dudes, and we have a website. It'll be the www.thetododudes.com. And then actually one of the exciting things we just launched about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks now, is our web or our app that's actually in the App Store. So we're in the Apple App Store for the To-Do Dudes. If you search that up, you'd be able to find it. The Android store or the Google Play Store is coming in about a week of time. So we're almost there. It was delayed. We're just pending in that other store, but search up the To-Do Dudes in the App Store. You'll be able to book with us. Very similar process to like in Uber, where you go and you just select what time you want. We come out and it's like an on-demand labor service. So I guess this is probably important to highlight. Do we have a few more minutes?
Absolutely, because I'm going to want to talk about this now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So whenever someone books with us, there's a few steps that they go through. So the first one is, if you're going online, we're going to ask, all right, what's your address? Let's make sure you're in the right service address. The next thing is going to be the amount of, or I guess first, the type of service. So out of those 6 categories I mentioned earlier, so you're gonna select one. It'll be in our app. You'll be able to see a little icon for each one. The amount of people you want, or we say dudes or dudettes, how many dudes or dudettes you want.
Yeah.
And then the third one would be the amount of hours. So it's very flexible, where we have people that are, you know what, I want 2 dudes for 8 hours, or I want 1 dude for 2 hours, or all the way up to six dudes on a project we've had before. So it really depends.
Yeah.
But once you get through that, then you select the date and time, and you're actually able to book right to our calendar. So it's a very simple process. If someone wants to book with our company, rather than trying to track someone down, I need someone to get out here, I don't know how to get them to come out. Within our app, or you can also do this online, it takes about 1 minute and 30 seconds to go through the entire process, and you already have confirmed that people will be coming out to your home.
Dude, I think this is revolutionary to have that app too, because maybe somebody knows who they used last time, but actually to have that app, not have to go to a website, and you can just, I see what you did there. You're ahead of the game.
Even further, because we're going into people's homes and they want to see somebody trustworthy. Like they want to know that that person is not just anybody random that's coming to their home.
Yeah.
If they do book online or through the app, when they get to the scheduling portion where they're picking the date and time, they'll see a little picture of the team member. So you get to select the person you actually want to pick. And then it'll be rated by, actually, we allow our clients to rate the individual person.
Nice.
So for example, you could see, we'll say Reese has a 4.93 star, right? Or like somebody else has they have a 4.4 star, and it's like, I might just go with the one that our clients are actually rating. So it's not like a bias where we're saying like, hey, they're good. It's like, at the end of the job, each customer is going to get a little survey, and they'll rate the team member that was out there on their project. And then basically now that helps. So now any new client that comes in, or just any existing that's picking their date and time, it's like, I get to see who that is. Who did I have last time if I want that same person? And then what are they rated, so I know I'm making an educated buying decision.
I see what you're doing, though, with the app as well, because if somebody has an app, now you can push notifications. Maybe they haven't used your service in a while. Hey, how have you, something.
Absolutely.
Like, dude, that's genius.
Yeah, I think it's really helpful, especially for the more technology savvy people, because there's some part of our demographic of customers that just want to call us on the phone.
Sure.
And that's always okay.
Yeah.
But there are some people that, I want convenience, I want it easy, and I don't want to spend a bunch of time. And so what we tried to solve is, instead of hopping on a 15-minute phone call, let's iron out all the details, let's make sure we can do this. We've just tried to simplify it. So now you're seriously, in 1 minute and 30 of time, you're going through and you have something booked, you're confirmed on the calendar, you get a confirmation email, like everything is set up so you know exactly what time, what's the price, what's all going to be happening. You can put notes in there, what are we going to be doing that day, to make sure that we're educated and ready when that time comes.
Dude, I love this. This is awesome. So folks out there, check out the To-Do Dudes with Erik. The app, that seems revolutionary for the industry itself. The fact that somebody can have an app, now they don't have to remember, the website or what company that I used last time. Now they can just use their phone, keep things simple, use their phone, go to the app. They can actually see who they had last time out as a team member to actually do whatever task it was. Super cool what Erik is doing with the mentorship that he's providing for his workforce in the To-Do Dudes. So super awesome. Make sure you guys reach out and support Erik in his journey, and support these local young kids who are, trying to provide value essentially to the community. So again, he can be reached through the website, through the app, and phone number that he threw out just a little bit ago, and I will throw it in the description below. And again, this has been Thaddeus and Erik on the Be Nice Individuals podcast, which is hosted here at the Flagler Voice Podcast Studio. Again, this is a space. Businesses want to come in here and shout out their business. Individuals that want to shout out their ideas or just have a session where they're talking. Or also political candidates that want to reach directly out to their constituents. We actually have call-in feature here where you can be super transparent if you want and actually take questions on the air. All that available. You don't have to do anything but show up. Again, this has been Thaddeus on the Be Nice Individuals podcast. We'll see you next time.